we're excited, obviously, for our 2025 season to get going. I think I say the same thing every year. I'd like to practice a little bit more. They're ready to play. So I think we're ready. There'll be some, ups and downs, but I think we're ready to kind of handle that. I think we have a really balanced returning group, so I'm excited to see them kind of build on last year. We have some really good inserts through the portal that I think are going to play significant roles for us. And, you'll see some freshmen probably get some innings as well. So obviously our largest roster since I've been here, and I think we're going to utilize quite a bit of them. So we're going to have some options.
So what is the difference in your three? The expectations, I think we talked to you a little bit,
Yep.
At the end of last year, but you say like, hey, we're already been here, this is what we need to do. Or just what is that situation?
Yeah, I think, as you guys know, I am a very process person. So I think for us, really sitting down as a staff and figuring out what are some things that we did really well last year, and what are some areas that I felt like we still needed to address. And so I think this year, most of the team that is returning has played postseason, has played at a high level of postseason. So I think you don't know until you know, right? And so obviously last year we were 4 outs away from going to OKC, so that still stings. But I always say, like, you learn your most, I feel like, through failure, right? And it's really going to make us hungry for this year and hopefully tidy up some of those pieces to get us over that hump.
What do you feel like you've done this offseason to get your 4 outs further, to get you
Yeah.
take that next step?
Yeah, I think paying attention to some little things that maybe we didn't do as good of a job last year of. I think we were harder on them. They'll probably tell you the same thing. Each year, that's my job, is to make practice hard, because we work at practice, we play the game. And so I want them to understand that work, that process, what that looks like, how that translate, I guess would be a better way of saying it, for game day. And so, there's been some attention to detail and some things that I felt like we needed to. We addressed the circle. I think that was one of our biggest areas that we needed to improve. And so I've been very pleased with kind of how that area has progressed. So we have some arms. Lefty has reinvented herself. She's added a couple of pitches. So I'm really excited to kind of see that. And that's what you want. You want them to every year feel like they have to get better. Like, what do I need to do? And not just kind of stay status quo.
How do you feel like some of the transfers that you brought in have gelled with the team? I know you do those challenges during preseason. Just how have you seen that play out so far?
Yeah, it's been really good. A lot of it has been in the pitching area, right? So Lefty has been instrumental in that, right? Because she is kind of, her and Levitt are the two returners. And so if they don't kind of welcome them in and teach them the ways, it makes that transition piece really hard. So, we have 3 freshmen. We have we have 1 junior and 1 sophomore pitcher transfer. And so I think with the guidance of both, I call them E squared when I refer to them together, but Emily and Lefty, I think that's been tremendous for us. I think on the field, we have kids like Kylie Griffin, obviously Coco, but Maya Perez really came out of her shell. Griff is kind of our glue. She's somebody that, keeps us on our toes. She's full of jokes. She's super witty, and so you need somebody like her on your team to really kind of mold that team together. Ojo Johnson, I've talked about her quite a bit. She's a transfer from Pearland, and she's just the kid that every program needs, the calm person, right, that can go up to anybody, have a conversation, holds herself to a really high standard. So I think we just did a good job of going in the portal or recruiting freshmen that personality-wise really fit like what we're trying to do here.
And then on the other side with the lineup, just how does adding a player like Mac and a couple of those other pieces kind of help, when you are losing like a Julia Cottrell and Trinity Cannon?
Yeah. Well, I could tell you I'm very happy that I don't have to be on the other side of Mac Barbara anymore. So I have been in scrimmage, and that hasn't been fun either. So we've gotten her a couple of times, but as of late, she's gotten us. But I think somebody like Mac was huge for us, right? We lost Trin, we lost Jazz Hill, we lost Jules, we lost Rylan. Coach Harger will tell you it's 40-something home. I don't know. He has, the number. And so it's quite a few big balls and even extra base hits, those types of things. And so Mac was instrumental for us. Obviously, adding Ojo is another piece. But the one that's come out of the woodworks that we knew that she had it in her was Maya Perez. Maya had a tremendous summer. Really good fall, and has carried it on into the season. So I'm looking forward to her kind of stepping up into that role. But Mac, like I said, I'm just happy she's on our team now. So that's been nice.
You talked about the evolution of Emily. If I'm not mistaken, she comes as a drop baller. You make a rise ball pitcher, then throw in the curve last year. And you did say you like to give players one thing. So where has Emily improved? You will be improved this year.
Yeah, it's going to be her changing of speeds. So she's now going to have not only a real changeup, but she's going to throw a third speed. So I think when you look at kind of where, like the last piece, I'd obviously like to tinker with her for a couple more years, but I'm only going to have her for one more year. That would be the piece that I felt like was kind of the low-hanging fruit. So she worked really hard to develop a true changeup, and then she's able to throw her other pitches at different speeds now.
And what is the new girl's pitcher, Peters? What's her strength? Or
Oh, good, yeah.
I know a lot of times you like to compliment your pitcher.
Yeah.
In the game, so
Yeah.
What's her deal?
Peters is going to be your Brooke Vestal, but in your mid-60s. So she's got a 22 to 2400 spin rate. She's up baller, crazy spin, has a good change. We've also thrown in some new things for her as well. So she's going to complement Kennedy in the way that she's going to be a righty up, but super spinny. And then you're going to have Grace Sparks, who's a down baller. So, again, we have a lot of up, which up in our league tends to play better, right? It's your strikeouts, those types of things. Grace, though, can go up and down, but she's primarily a down ball pitcher, so that's going to mirror well. And then you have Emily Levitt, who has reinvented herself again this off season. She's really worked hard on her drop ball, so she's now going down much more. It's been fun to watch our hitters go, hold on, she didn't have that last year. He doesn't have as much command. So she's able to go down and up now. And then we have Kate Munnerlin, who is a freshman pitcher, who is a lefty. So again, kind of our next lefty in line, who is down, has a little bit of a show me up that will develop over her years here, but a staggering changeup. I think you could tell everybody that it's coming, and people still have a hard time. Our hitters hate, facing her changeup. So, and then the last one is Sydney Lessentine. She's a kid that is very much like Sydney Peters, to be honest with you. And so we're just going to kind of develop her over her years, but super spinny, good up. Velo needs to kick up a little bit, but has a stifling changeup. So notice there's a lot of changeups that I'm being said. So anybody that knows me, changeup is the key to winning us lots of softball games and being able to go through lineups multiple times, right? If you don't have a changeup in this league, like they'll time you up, and it doesn't matter how good you are.
How do you prepare for these kind of first weekends when you got 6 games,
Yep.
4 days, multiple different opponents, and you don't really have time to kind of hone in on?
Oh, I make time. I think I'm averaging about midnight every night here. So for me, I like to know the lineups front and back. I won't be able to sleep if I don't feel that way. So this first month of season, I think any college coach will tell you is wearing on you because you're trying to prepare for 5. They kind of mix and match, in your head. So I've gotten all the scouting done for obviously this weekend. And so now this week it's really honing in on the pitchers who we're facing, and then revisiting as we get closer. Okay, give me a little refresher course. So next weekend on Sunday will be the day that, Sunday and Monday will be me trying to get through the next weekend. So I think, you don't maybe dive in as much as the analytics, but I do enjoy when we start playing just a series that I can dive into some counts, swing patterns, tendencies. Right now we're going through each hitter, or I am, and looking at their swing tendencies, what zone they attack and how that matches up, with our pitching.
So you did lose 3 players, and you automatically penciled in every game, so to speak. So how many of the 8 positions are locks, and you're going to have a designated player? Is that going to, how's that look?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see a little movement. You might see, Coco might play a little center field for us this year. Amari Harper is going to probably play a lot of outfield for us this year. First base, right now, today, I would say Maya Perez is somebody that's probably going to play there, but you're going to see Kylie Griffin play there. You might even see Mac a little bit. Mac and Griff are going to battle for that DP spot. I'm trying to get those 3 bats in the lineup, which is why Amari has moved out to the outfield, because KK Dement is, playing second base for us right now, but you can see Amari come into second base. So we have a lot of kind of moving parts. Scout, Frankie Vrazel, both can play right field. So, my job, our job, that Coach Harger and I have been talking a lot about is just getting some of these kids some at-bats, some innings, and kind of seeing what that looks like so we have some options later on in the season.
I know it's a good problem to have, but
It's a lot.
what you just
Yeah.
alluded to, how much do you look at these first couple weekends to kind of evaluate what you want your lineup to look like, and like you said, just trying to work all of the bats that you have on the bench into the lineup?
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot more strategy to it. So Harger and I will sit down and say, okay, in these next 2 weekends, how many at-bats do we want to get this player, how many innings here? Catching is another position that all 3 of them, you could see them rotate through. So what we really try to do is I've sat down and done it already for the first 2 weekends pitching-wise, like how many starts is this kid getting? Is she coming in relief? And kind of figuring out what those pieces look like. And then we'll do the same thing from a defensive and offensive standpoint, is making sure we're kind of figuring, okay, we wanted to get her 20% at bats. We wanted her to get, X amount of innings defensively. And then once we start to do that, that's what preseason is for. Then we can start to hone in on conference play and seeing what that looks like.
Kind of going off of that, how important is it for you guys to kind of handle your business early in these games to maybe allow some players to play through some situations, to maybe see if the pitcher can get out of a jam?
Yes.
Or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's huge. Hopefully we don't have a jam,
Right.
but no, we are, and it's going to be good for us. But I think for us, what it's going to be really good is if we can come out and play our games against some good competition, and then allow other players to get some opportunities as well, and see how they respond in good competition. So I think for us, it's going out, playing our game, making it a nightmare for pitchers to pitch against us. And then I think from a defensive standpoint, our best defense is our pitching. And what I mean by that is we have so many different looks that that's going to be hard for other teams to prep for.
Baylor, one of the teams coming in.
Yeah, they're
Kinda
good.
like you guys have a lot of preseason hype. Just what is it like to bring in a team of that caliber so close the very first week?
Yeah, it's going to, keep us on our toes. I think it's going to really kind of show us what we're doing really well at and some areas that I think that we need to get better at. So every tournament that we're in, we have at least one marquee big matchup that I think is going to really help us develop and mold into what we need to be in and ready to in order to get ready for our conference.
And that being said, did you do this schedule? It's one of the tougher ones probably anyone's had in a while, with Oklahoma City the conference in mind.
Yeah, so you can thank Coach Harger for the schedule this year. So good and bad, right? So if it ends up working well for us, it was me that I did the schedule. But no, I think what we really looked at is trying to make sure that every weekend we have some really hard, because I felt like, as we got going and got, playing in postseason, that has helped us in the past to get kind of past it. So if we, just play a super soft schedule, then we get to conference, then you're kind of shocked, right? So sometimes it takes you a series or two to kind of get your feet wet, where I felt like this year, our pre-conference schedule is going to get us really ready for conference. Our home conference series here for SEC play is really tough. I'm excited about it because being able to play these programs with the 12th man behind us, I'll always put money on us. So, I think it's going to help us in the long run. So, I would say Harger definitely thought about, hey, how do we do this a little bit more to help us get ready for postseason?
Speaking of the schedule, kind of going back a little bit when Texas, Oklahoma joining the league this year, what was your reaction when you don't?
Yeah.
Those teams on?
Kind of bummed, to be honest with you. I think playing Texas is always good for us. It's good for them. It's good for the state of Texas. And then next year we have them both, I think, on our slate. So I think, it's kind of how it works out. But again, we were able to play them in the fall, so that was nice to at least get one game, whether it, counted or not. But I have a feeling we'll see them in conference play at the tournament, maybe even postseason. Hopefully they don't match us again against them, but you just never know. So, I think, for us, we were a little bummed, but it is what it is. And, we're going to prep and be ready to go.
Not to harp on Baylor, but
Yep.
they are your ranked opponent this weekend. Glenn's been there for a while, and you
Yeah.
played him 2 years ago.
Yep.
Just what are you seeing from them? What do you look at when they do well?
Yeah, well, I respect the heck out of him. I actually enjoy, there's probably very few programs that I enjoy playing. I do enjoy playing his program. He's always a class act. I think he's done a really good job of, they're scrappy. I mean, they took Florida last year to, a series final at Supers as well. So I just think he finds a way to get his team competitive. So they've got some lefty hitters. They have Tovin back, who was injured last year. They also have Dari, who I recruited at Fresno State a long, long time ago. So, he's gotten some pieces back that were injured that I feel like they never go away. I think that's the great thing about Baylor is they just keep competing pitch by pitch. He's got, I think, 6 arms, so he has a lot of different looks as well. He got a good transfer from Duke, a lefty kid that is going to be tricky. She doesn't throw very hard, but that's part of the hard, honestly. And she has a really good changeup. I mean, a changeup that she'll throw in any count. So I think for us, it's going to be to stay disciplined, really understand what our plan is, and to be able to execute it.
You healthy, 100% healthy? Were you?
I'm thinking, yeah, we are.
Just make sure.
Yeah. So far, so good. Knock on wood.